Welcome back to part 2 of the Service Portal 101 series, and today we're going to take a quick look at the branding editor. The branding editor is part of the Service Portal and allows you to take the out-of-the-box provided Service Portal and brand it to your company theme, change the colors, change some of the text, and so forth. So we're going to jump into a demonstration here in a minute, and what we're going to do is look at how to get to the branding editor, and then we'll walk through some of the very basic features of how to use the branding editor. This is where you want to have your graphic files ready. So we're going to upload a background. We're going to change some colors. We're also going to apply a logo. So all these files should be ready prior to doing that. If you take a look at the video, you'll get the idea of the different sizes that you may want to have. Also, you want to make sure that you take into consideration the compression ratio, because some of these images can get quite large, especially for the background, and as a result, you don't want to have the pages load slowly. So keep that in mind as you gather your collateral from your marketing team, and let's go ahead and get started. So we're in my instance, and the first thing we want to do is go ahead and start looking at the menu for the portal. So if I just type portal in the navigator, you'll see that it brings me down to Service Portal here, and we're going to jump into Service Portal configuration. Now, one thing to keep in mind, you may have multiple portals defined depending on what you've worked on or what has been installed out of the box. You notice that I have a service portal, I have an HR service portal, customer service, and so forth. So as we go into this, the first thing we're going to want to do is make sure that we're modifying the right service portal. So when I select Service Portal configuration, that you saw this in the last video, we're going to choose this first option, which is the branding editor. So we're taking the stock out of the box ServiceNow Service Portal, and we're just going to go ahead and make some modifications to that in terms of the look and feel, but not really changing into the widgets on here. So the first thing you want to make sure is at the top here that I'm selecting the right portal, and this is represented from the list that we just looked at of the available portals. In this case, we're already selected on the Service Portal. That's the one I'm going to modify. But you'll notice if I select HR Service Portal, it's going to load that portal, and then I can start working on that one instead of the Service Portal. So just keep that in mind that you're editing the correct one. Once I'm here, you'll notice that it updates live as well. So any changes that I make here on the left-hand side will be reflected on the right-hand side. So you get near real-time in platform editing and able to see exactly what you're doing as the changes are made. We're going to look at two tabs here, the quick setup and the theme colors. So in the quick setup, it's pretty simple. I'm going to give it a portal title, My Service Portal. Then I'm going to go ahead and come down here to the next line, which is the logo. And so in this logo, I have the ServiceNow logo already, but I'm going to change this and I'm going to upload a new image because I want it to be representative of my company. So when I choose Upload a New Image, I find my logo that I've already prepared. I select OK. And again, you'll notice that this is done in real time. So as I make my change here, it's represented here so I can see what that looks like. So there's no need to save. There's nothing to do. All those changes will be created for you. There's a little bit of graphic positioning that you can do here for the logo padding. This is just adjusting the cascading style sheet padding on the back end, but it allows you to do it within the interface here. I typically don't mess with that, but if your logo's not fitting right and you want to make changes to that, you can go ahead and just drag this back and forth. And as soon as you drag that back and forth, the right-hand side updates and you can see those changes immediately. So I've changed my logo, I've changed the page title. Now I want to come in here and look at the tagline. So by default, the tagline is what's listed here. How can we help? And maybe you want to change that to something different. You can say, can we help you? Or maybe something a little bit more simple. Search here. And that can be adjusted as needed. Now the tagline color is just the color of the text here. So depending on your background that you select, and we'll look at that in a minute, you may have to adjust the color of the of the tagline. In this case, I'm just going to choose a red. If you have a particular Pantone color or the code of the color, you can select that down there. I'm just going to go ahead and select a random red here and be done with that. Background color of the home page, you can select that. I'm going to go ahead and leave this at white, but if you want to change that, certainly you could do that. The next thing to change is this background image. This background image displays, and one thing you want to keep in mind is that this can be a very large image. So as a result, make sure that you're using the appropriate file formats and compression ratios on the files to make sure that it's not a 5 gig graphic image that you're trying to load every time. In this case, I've prepared one in advance. Mine is 58K in size, so it's fairly small. It should load very quickly. And I'll go ahead and upload that, and you'll see that it changes here. Now, I did make a mistake there. Obviously, that's not going to work with my tagline color. So I'm just going to go ahead and select a yellow to put over that. Hopefully that looks a little better. I'm certainly not a graphic artist. So that looks pretty good. I'm happy with the results there. So I've changed my logo. I've changed my background color, or my background image. Now I want to look at theme colors. Now these theme colors are based off of a couple things. You'll notice the predefined colors here. These are defined in Bootstrap, and that's the name. So when you refer to a color, you have default, primary, success, info, warning, and danger. And those are the color names as defined by Bootstrap. And so we just leverage those. We also allow you to change the nav bar, which is this up here, and change the background, the divider line, which is this line under the background. We also let you change the link colors and the hover colors. So you can come in and change this to your heart's content, make it look and feel however your branding does for your company and corporate standards. If you want to speak to your marketing team, they'll give you all the specific color codes that you're using, and you can adjust this accordingly. So I'm just going to make some changes here. Again, I'm far from a graphic artist, but just to give you an idea of what this may look like. As I start to adjust this, I see that my colors aren't showing up well, so I want to give it a little bit more contrast. When I hover, I want these to be maybe red, and so forth. So you get the idea. Pretty simple to change. And again, all this is live, so I can see immediately what changes were taken and what that reflects in the background. I can also change the page background from here. The panel background, button, default, and so forth. So there's lots of options. I'm not going to go through and change these. But again, as you change these, you'll see them reflected on the right-hand side in real time. So you can see those changes, be happy with those, whatever they are, and then make sure that you're satisfied before you exit out. So that's it for the service portal branding. It's really pretty easy to do. Not much in terms of work or effort to do that. You just want to be prepared before you start and make sure that you have all your files in hand as far as your logo, the colors that you're going to put in there, and so forth. So that's all for this video. I'll go ahead and continue in my next video in this series with the designer. We'll look at how to construct a page, how to make modifications and change it around, or even design a page from scratch. That'll be a little bit more involved in this first two videos, so look for that coming up soon. Thank you.